Hello guys, welcome back to the channel, hope you're doing well. Today we are going to have a look at a 2008 Vauxhall Corsa Special. It's a 1.3 CDTI, so a 1.3 turbo diesel. It's done 117,000 miles, it's a 2008, and we've taken it in part exchange for 150 quid. Why so cheap? Well, the customer was looking at one of our other cars, which they were in the process of buying, and jokingly said, "You don't want to buy our car for 50 quid, do you?" To which I responded, "Why, what's wrong with it?" And he said, "Oh, he just can't even remember what he said. Didn't like it, thought it was a piece of crap, whatever." And I said, "Well, yeah, I'd feel bad giving you 50 quid for it though. I'll give you 150 quid, that's kind of scrap money." So they said, "Okay, well, when we come to collect the other car, we'll decide, figure it out and see if we want to do that or not." And before they came to collect it, they gave us a call and said, "That £150 offer, is that still on the table?" To which of course I said, "Yeah, of course, yeah, I'm more than happy to do that." And in comes this car, which we've now got, for better or worse. It's funny enough, it actually turns out it's an ex-police car, so if you try and look it up online, it comes up as a van. Should we have a look what we've got? Right, there we are. First thing that jumps out is this thing is absolutely filthy. Seriously in need of a clean. Maybe we'll even do that at the end of this video, just to see how it comes up. I say it's filthy, it is. It's just covered in grime, as you can see there. A bit of a scuff on this corner. Nothing too crazy this side by the looks of it. Tyres on this side look to be at least decent depth. Okay, so there is a nice little scuff on the rear arch there. Again, really grimy. You can see that it's quite steamed up. There is a reason for that. We'll come to that in a minute. So it's not alloy wheels, it's steel wheels. Avon tyres, which is good to see. Decent tread. Come around the front. See the toe and eye cover is kind of hanging out, so that's probably been in use at some point. And the bonnet is rusting along the front edge there, and it's actually dripped down onto the chrome of the grille. I don't think that'll even come off because that will have sort of corroded into the chrome finish on there. Headlights look okay. Yes, it looks grubby, it looks crap, but mainly superficial. Other than the rust and the scratch in the other corner, most of that will probably polish up, and this would look quite a presentable car. Let's have a look inside. Okay, pretty noisy check strap. That could do with some grease, but probably wants replacing in reality. As per usual, we've got the previous person's rubbish and snotty tissues and disgustingness. We've got Corsa rubber mats on there. Yes, it's all seen better days. The obligatory McDonald's cup, which I wonder if the bottom's gone. Oh God. All right, we only gave 150 quid for this car, but who takes their car in and hands it over to someone with their rubbish in it? Surely you would at least clean that out. Anyway, obviously they don't. We've got some cheap crap air freshener. Some kind of Chicano girl. We can get rid of that. Let's have a look at the stereo system. Well, something broken around there. I wonder if originally there would have been a hole in there for some kind of cable, for something to do with the police system. We have got, I imagine this is a Bluetooth FM receiver. We've got electric windows, CD, MP3. Obviously it's not got Bluetooth, that's why they've done the dongle thing. And it's a 5-speed manual. In the back, a pair of work gloves. It wants a good hoover in here, but makes a nice change. The back seats don't look like they've had some kind of chemical battle happen on them. There is a bit of crap in the footwell, but nothing drastic. Let's have a quick look in the boot. No parcel shelf. Headrest, all at different heights. real pet peeve of mine, especially if you're going to photograph a car. If you're ever selling your car and you don't set all the headrests the same height and things like that, that's a real bugbear for me. Okay, 3 L plates, spare wheel, okay, I wondered for a minute, looked like a bloody noose, but someone's bungee strap they've tied in a loop for some reason. Yeah, we've got a spare wheel. I can't see the jack though, even underneath the wheel. I can't see anything under there, so I wonder if it's in one other side. Okay, here's our jack and everything, so that is still there. That's a bonus. Our first aid kit? No. There's a bit of a theme, we never seem to have a first aid kit. Seats, oh, seats must be depth adjustable. You have to have both hands to do that. So it looks like you can adjust those seats further back this way. Let's have a quick look. Glove box, we got, oh wow. I say this was an ex-police car, this looks like something they've probably confiscated at some point. We've got cigarettes and some kind of powder, and I'm far too innocent and naive to know what any of that stuff may have been. We'll just get the Hoover out and get rid of that, I think. Right, let's have a little look, see if we've got any service history, because the only paperwork I've got in the building is the V5, so we have got a service book. It's unlikely it's been filled out if it was police. GM UK Special Vehicles. So I imagine that's whoever provided it to the police. And it's not been filled out at all. And if it was a police vehicle, they would have done their own internal service paperwork. I wonder if any of that's in here. So no, we don't have any service paperwork whatsoever, not even a receipt for a tyre. We've got the MOT failure here because we did put this in for an MOT. It got taken in part exchange by a colleague. They just doing what the team should do really. They've put it through the workshop. Sorry, I haven't put it through the workshop. They sent it off for an MOT because it doesn't have one. We thought we'd find out what it fails on, which was a few different things. And they've since then had it back in the workshop and repaired some of these things. So windscreen washer provides insufficient washer fluid. Well, they've obviously fixed that. Maybe it had a washer pump. I don't think it did actually. I think someone said it didn't have a washer pump. They just managed to make it work. Maybe it was wiring. Lamp, so they've changed that. Shock absorber, so they've changed the shock absorber. Track rod end ball joint has excessive play offside, so they've changed that. Coil spring fractured or broken near side rear, so they've changed that. Oil leak but not excessive. I actually stuck my head under the car at some point when I was walking past and saw, I think it was the sump plug washer, so they've done that. Exhaust has a minor leak of exhaust gases. And track rod end ball joint has slight play near side, so that's the same as the other one, which was a fail, but that one was just an advisory. So they've done both. So this is, yes, now MOT'd, but I wonder if that was actually the best use of time for this vehicle, bearing in mind it was 150 quid. And I haven't driven it, and there was obviously other reasons they wanted rid of it rather than just needing an MOT. So let's have a look under the bonnet, let's fire it up, and then we'll take it out on the road and see what we think. Okay, here we go. Pretty good leaf collection going on. The whole thing looks pretty grubby, but I'm not seeing oil or anything like that. Coolant looks okay. Let's have a quick look. Jesus. Coolant looks okay. That's good. Get that cap back on. Wheel cap looking pretty grubby. Everything's got incredibly long screws in it. Okay, looks okay, no signs of anything obviously drastic under there. Right, let's fire it up. Oh, I forgot to say we have got 2 keys with this car, which I think both work. Yes, excellent. So 2 keys, at least that's a bonus. Let's fire it up. Okay, it sounds not too bad. It's pretty agricultural, isn't it? But then it is a 1.3 CDTI Vauxhall engine. Far from my favourite engine in the world. In fact, when they're working, they're a great little engine. They're super economical. They actually provide really good power and pull really well, but they just seem plagued with problems. And if you're someone who deals with used cars like me, then more than likely you're going to deal with them at some point when they got lots of problems. So I don't particularly love them for that reason. Right, we need to clear this windscreen, so let's put the fans on. Oh no, they're not working. We don't seem to have any flan? We definitely don't have any flan blowers, but we also don't have any fan blowers in here, which is a nuisance. Quite often if it's just the resistor, then you get no power or full power and you just don't get the varying degrees below. But we've got nothing, which is not ideal when you've got a screen that is this misted up. We're gonna have to get the windows down and try and do something to actually have a view out. At least the good news is both electric windows do work. And then I think, yep, keep fit windows in the back. Well, this probably explains the window sponge. Right, let's take it for a spin and see what else is wrong. One thing I'll point out before we pull off, let's put it in reverse. Ooh, every time. Doesn't matter how much I pump that clutch pedal, how hard I push it down. I mean, that's, you can hear it's hitting the floor. That's nice. That's the kind of characteristics people come to love in their cars. The sound of pure power. I've got to have the windows down because otherwise my windscreen is going to steam up completely. Oh, it's got a turbo that makes it sound like it's a police car as well. It's going woo, woo. So I imagine there's a bit of play in the turbine on that bad boy as well. Ooh, that's not a pleasant noise. I noticed that before as well. The steering from the actual steering column or rack is quite a clonk there. There are a couple of little suspension rattles from the front, which is strange really because it's had both new front drop links, so something else not quite right there which they haven't picked up on the MOT. On the whole, the handling's not too bad. It does feel like it's tracking's definitely not 100% right, so we'll have to get that sorted as well. But otherwise it feels okay for a Vauxhall Corsa. Oh, that's interesting. I put my foot down then and it was picking up as best as it can for a little 1.3 diesel, and then all of a sudden it's like someone's turned the tap off and it kind of died out. It's probably something to do with one of the issues that people wanted to get rid of this car, among the many others obviously, but we did know there was something to do with, although there's no engine management lights on in this car, they said something about they think the turbo's knackered or something, and I think Dan, who was doing the deal with them, thought maybe it's a turbo actuator, which is quite common on these, and you can buy the actuator individually, say on eBay or whatever, which opens and closes boost pressure to do with boost, throttle, I don't know, but you can get an actuator. It does stuff with the turbo, and this one potentially maybe playing up. If it's actually the turbo on its way out, you expect it to be a lot noisier than it is, although I said it was making some kind of whooshy police siren noises. It's not bad at all actually, and I haven't heard it since. It's not smoking, and it does provide really good power. until the point that it drops off. So he could well be right that it's something to do with the actuator, turbo actuator. Oh, do you hear the clonk again? Or maybe it's a boost leak or something. I don't know. This is why we have mechanics at the garage, and thank God these kind of diagnoses and repairs aren't left to me. I've got a bit of a golden rule about taking part exchange cars, which might sound absolutely crazy to people who aren't in the car trade, because you'd think, well, of course you'll do that, but test driving part exchange cars, no matter how expensive or cheap they are, and you may be at home thinking, well, of course you're going to test drive it, you're buying a car of someone. Well, do you know what, this is sort of day in, day out. You say to I buy cars off people without even looking half the time, and sometimes it bites me in the arse. Sometimes you get away with it, but yeah, I guess it's a case of laziness and just not having time. Sometimes I'll price a car and say, yeah, as long as it's in good condition. It turns up it's in quite good condition, but the customer really hasn't got any more money. So you make mistakes that way. If you don't test drive a car, there are so many things that you are not going to be able to be made aware of if they are there, like putting the car in reverse and finding out that it crunches every time. Perhaps it's missing third gear, or the discs are absolutely warped and the engine makes a horrendous clattering noise above 4,000 RPM, which you can't find out sat on a forecourt because it's got a soft limiter or something. So even if it's 150 quid you've given for a car, well, you think, well, I can't really lose, but you can't. You could take it to the scrapyard and get paid that, but then you've got to take it to the scrapyard and do that. The reason it's taking a bit of a gamble, I suppose, but saying, yeah, okay, I'll give you 150 quid for that, because you think, well, how much could possibly be wrong? They haven't told me a huge amount of things wrong. They said it maybe wants a turbo, and that's not the end of the world, and then it wants an MOT, and which is fine if there's a couple of little issues and you can fix things for, say, a couple hundred quid, and it owed 350 quid, 400 quid. But say we need to do a turbo actuator on this, we need to get a new heater control thingy, which is not going to be expensive. That is the good point of it being a Vauxhall Corsa. Maybe 40 quid. Does the radio even work?
Will you invite anyone for Christmas?
Yes. But we've already spent money on a spring, shock absorber, drop links, an MOT test, the labour of, me paying my technicians to do that stuff. So let's say, best case scenario, this car ends up owing me £400. Well, it's still going to be a car with 12 months MOT that's got no service history, and it crunches every time you put it into reverse. It's not an ideal scenario, and even if you're going to be selling it cheap for under £1,000, people don't want to buy a car that's crunching when it goes into reverse, because they think, well, that gearbox is clearly on its way out, and it's going to cost me another, 500 quid somewhere down the line, which is half the value of the car. So, doing your test drives, no matter what it's on, and it works both ways. Whether it's a cheap car and you think it doesn't really matter because it's so cheap, I won't bother test driving it, and it turns out that it's, you think, I can factor in changing a gearbox if I have to. Turns out it needs a gearbox, a diff, tyres all around, whatever. If you even just be able to shift it on somewhere, then that's all well and good, so long as you know, and you can factor that into your price, and before you start spending money on it under the assumption that it's not going to be too bad. The same goes for if you have a 21 plate car come in and you're paying them £20,000 for it, and you've walked around it, it looks absolutely lovely, they've driven it from 2 hours away, and everything seems, hunky-dory. What could possibly be wrong with a 1-year-old car? Well, unfortunately quite a lot, and especially if they turn up at the end of the day when it's winter and it's hidden the fact that it's been painted all down one side and it's an undeclared write-off, or it makes some weird noise with the gearbox, or the gearbox is automatic and it stalls every time you put it into gear when it's cold, but it's okay when it's hot. There's just so much you don't know, and you can end up being stitched up. And it's really funny, actually, that car dealers get such a bad rep that we're crooks and we try and stitch people up and whatever. And don't get me wrong, there are people out there like that, and I've certainly met them. But the vast majority of us are trying to run a decent, honest business here, and in fact, we're the ones that quite often get stitched up with part exchanges. I'm not saying that in this case, because 100% I was happy with giving them 150 quid for the car. and they were as open, as honest as someone who's not technically minded could be. But there have been cases before where someone's come in and I've sort of said, I don't really want that in part exchange, but to help you out and help the deal and, you know, help this wheel of this deal keep rolling, I'll take that in part exchange. And given them, say, 400 quid, for example, on a Seat Altea I had once, and I thought, well, that's all right, because I can, you know, I'll easily spin that round for 800 quid and get rid of it. And it's only when they'll walk out the door and say, oh, just by the way, the battery on that keeps dying. It's got a really bad power drain somewhere. We thought it was the radio. We changed the radio, but it's not. It's something else. And I couldn't walk away in good conscience without having told you. And you think, well, hang on. You've waited until after we've done the deal and you've bought the car, and I've got no comeback as a trader. I can't chase you down and say you need to give me a refund because of Consumer Rights Act, blah de blah. When you've knowingly just stitched me up, you trying to clear your conscience when you're walking out the door saying, oh yeah, it's got a horrible electrical gremlins. Well, that's not. You should have told me that before if you had a good conscience and, you know, you had good morals, but I'm the bad guy. Mini rant over. Yeah, getting back to the point, it's always important you do test drives. If I'd test driven this car after we'd bought it and had realised that reverse was knackered and it's doing weird things with the turbo, and I would have, the first thing I would have thought is, well, to make this a kind of desirable car to sell on, I am going to at least need to put a gearbox in it. Second-hand gearbox, probably going to cost me 250 quid, plus fitting it, plus while you're doing it, you're probably going to want to put a clutch in. So let's say it's on one of these, it says 350 quid plus the labour, let's say another 100 quid, 450 quid. You're already looking at this car around 600 quid. Then I'd have spend the 100 quid on the parts for the MOT, that's 700 quid. Then the MOT, that's 750 quid. Then you've got to spend the time cleaning it and listing it and whatever, so it's 800 quid and you might get a grand or 1,200 quid back for it. Some of them are just better off just getting rid of them and there's not that much in it. That was probably one of these, or this was probably one of those cars, but we've already started doing work on it, so I feel like there's only one way out from here, and that's probably get the MOT sorted, try and sort the turbo actuator issue, give it a good service, give it a good clean, and I just have to try and sell it cheap, declaring the issues it's got, you know, that it crunches when it goes into reverse, the work that it's just had done. Someone out there probably won't mind the fact that it crunches going into reverse, as long as it does go into reverse and the other gears are fine. It will put 80% of people off, but there will be someone out there who wants it. For me, I should have checked it and I didn't. These are the minor details you need to pay attention to, and that's on me. Anyway, that is the £150 ex-police Vauxhall Corsa. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please like and leave a comment. And if you got this far already, after all that ranting and you haven't subscribed, why? It feels like a complete waste of your time. Please do subscribe. Plenty more videos coming like this because I will not stop buying crap cars. And before you go, I'll see you in the next video.